your needs. Visit renewalbyanderson.com for a free in-home consultation with the pros. Right now, 20% off your entire project, including labor with 3 or more windows and doors. No money down, 0% interest, and 0 payments for 12 months with approved credit. Visit renewalbyanderson.com. Renewalbyanderson.com. Offer ends August 31st. License CGC 1524135.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. One of my biggest blessings in this lifetime is being a dad, and I've said that many times before. I think it's the greatest thing that ever happened to me was when I became a dad. I was looking at some old videos of a friend's daughter's wedding, and it was a video of him dancing with his daughter. And it's a beautiful thing to see a dad dancing with his daughter at a wedding, isn't it?
It is gorgeous.
And I remember having a conversation with him one time. We were like comparing notes because we went to school together. So, and we were parents probably at the same time. So I think his daughter was a little bit older than my son. I think so. But anyway, comparing, what it's like, the difference between raising a son, raising a daughter, right? The different things that go along with it. And in your case, you raised both a son and a daughter.
Yep.
But then there's also that different dynamic between father and child and mother and child, right? There's that different dynamic as well. For sure. I don't know if it's social, I don't know if it's biological, but there are definitely some differences. So when I was reading a piece in one of the publications that we subscribe to called Radio and TV Interview Report, I think that's what it's called, I was so intrigued by our next guest's information that I decided I wanted to invite her on, and she agreed, and I'm so glad she did. Colleen O'Grady is who I'm referring to. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist. She's been doing this for over 25 years. She trains psychiatry and psychology residents in both the child and adolescent departments at the University of Texas Medical Schools and the adolescent inpatient unit at the county hospital. She's a youth minister, an expert on teens in her community, the creator of her Power Your Parenting programs and workshops, and you guessed it, she's written a book. It's called Dial Down the Drama, and another one called 7 Ways to Help Your Teenage Daughter and Yourself. And what we're talking about this morning is how to reduce the conflict and reconnect with your teenage daughter, although I'm going to slip in son here and there. Colleen O'Grady. Good morning, Colleen. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
And where are you right now? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Houston, Texas.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the air with us.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be here.
Are we, I'm going to say we because I think this applies to all Americans. Are we influenced by pop culture? And I'm wondering sometimes if, like, whatever was influencing me when I was a teenager, was it a pain for my parents? does the you know what I mean? Does popular culture sometimes affect us in unrealistic ways when we're teens?
Yes, absolutely. And I would say it's both. I mean, I think teenagers are hardwired for drama, but the pop culture is really escalating some of the issues with teenagers.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be the talk. Like if you, I know that I think Facebook has been held hostage or something by us older folks. So I think the kids are on something other than Facebook. But every once in a while, I'll see a post from somebody I know as a teenager, and they have a lot of drama going on in their world.
Yeah, I think when we were younger, we might write a note and it might get captured by the teacher. But now these kids are writing stuff on Snapchat, Instagram, Skyping and texting. And a lot of this stuff is now a permanent record for the world to see.
Right.
Kids, they're not thinking about it.
Yeah. And as a parent, we want to steer them away from that, don't we?
Yeah. And I what I see oftentimes is, especially parents of middle school kids, is a lot of times the parents don't expect the kids to be getting into trouble then, but they really do. And a lot of times they'll have their phones at night and they can't. It's so addicting. It's hard to get off the phone. So, they're talking to friends all night long, and it's easy to do something inappropriate. A lot of girls get bullied.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you know what? My dad used to say, you should be a parent and not a friend. But I felt like my dad was kind of my friend, maybe in older years. But I've often wondered, somebody like yourself who's done it professionally, is it a bad idea to be your son's friend or your daughter's friend?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. It's confusing, but here's what I would say, is you don't want to be their enemy, but you don't want to be their best friend either, but you want to have an amazing connection with your teen, and it is possible. That connection with your teen is a lifeline, because you don't want your teen going to another teen when they're all drunk at a party. You want them to be able to call you and say, hey, would you give me a ride home?
And you have to be able to offer them guidance without interfering with the way they make their own decisions also. You have to be very subtle in your approach.
Yes. And the reason for that is that they literally are hardwired for drama, which means with the brain, when we go offline from the higher brain, which is what we really think of our brain, is all the rational, problem-solving parts of our brain. The teenager naturally goes to more of the reactive stress response, which is going to fight, flight, or freeze. And when they are in a stress response, they're offline from all the real rational problem-solving parts of their brain. Mm-hmm. So that's why teens can do really risky things. That's why they can get really, really upset. And again, we go back to the connection. We want them to have a really good connection with you, because they need help thinking through some of their just totally impulsive decisions.
And if I was to drive out to where you are, there's a part of the road, I think in Mobile, Alabama, where you go under the ground through a tunnel. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to use that as an analogy just for a second here. My son is now 30, just so you know, so he's past the teenage years. But I remember he was on the road. Everything was fine. I knew what he was doing. We were we were each other's best friends when he was little.
Oh yeah, you were.
And then when he got to be 17, it was like he was entering that tunnel in Mobile, Alabama, and then he didn't come out of it till maybe 20. And I was so glad to see him again. I was like, hey, you're back. It wasn't that he wasn't in my life. He was, but it was like we didn't connect anymore for a little while, or at least not as we once did. And now we do again. Is that I think I did the same thing though to my parents. I don't know. Is that just part of hatching out of the egg and getting on to be independent?
Yes. Yeah. So yes, but it's not all or nothing. I think that it used to be that you thought of that once my teen is a teenager, I can't really do anything with them anymore. But that's actually that true. So, but they are connecting with their peer group, and they're not sharing everything with you anymore. And that it's hard for dads, but it's really hard for moms, because we're kind of used to sometimes our daughters, but they're friends about certain things.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what we were wondering also. You broke up a little bit there, so I didn't quite hear the whole thing. But
okay, sorry.
I think that the father dynamic with the children is different than the mother dynamic. And it sounds like what you're saying is there's a different dynamic between father and son and father and daughter, and mother and son and mother and daughter. Is that right?
Yeah, it's subtle. There's definitely lots of similarities, but there are some definitely differences, and these are generalizations.
Yeah.
But there are drama boys, but a lot of times the boys they're less complicated. They might do some avoiding. They'll hide out in their room. They'll do risky behavior, but they won't do full throttle, come at you psychological warfare, which girls can do sometimes.
Yeah, they can.
So how did this happen for you?
Daughters can do that.
I mean, this is your area of expertise. Were you able to avoid some of these things too? I mean, with your two, you had 2 children, right? 2 teenagers.
Yeah. Well, it was really actually kind of comical. Like when my daughter turned 12, I was seen in my community as the expert on teenagers. And then when my own daughter crossed her arms, was towering over me and saying, "You can't tell me what to do," I felt the universal fury of all parents. And so I ranted enraged, and my little therapist angel on my shoulder was like, "What the heck are you doing? You know, this doesn't work." And I kind of knocked her off and went to town, but it was not productive. And so I
just heard the word knocked her off and went to town.
Yeah.
Sorry. Somebody just tuning in at that moment was wondering what was going on.
Families, when you have a good family and you've got a good core unit between the parents and the children, you have to make time for each other, just that family time. Are you able to advocate for the family dinners?
Yes. And I think that's great time. And I would expand on that, which is the reason why family dinners work is because it's downtime. It's more restful. So getting underneath family dinners is because family dinners could be extremely stressful if you bring up issues. Mm-hmm. So you want family dinners to be kind of a no conflict zone.
Yeah.
And no issue zone. Like, just enjoy one another.
Do you have rules? Do you say no phones at the table, that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's good.
No video games, no phones.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because then we're back into stressful, because then you're harping on them to get off their phones. But even if families can't do that in this, like, you've got soccer games and all sorts of games, the thing that you want to be really intentional about is having some downtime in your family. And sometimes, I know when my daughter was, younger, that I would say, in my head, okay, from the time I pick her up from school to 5 o'clock is downtime. I'm not going to push her. I'm just going to kind of be available to her. So when your kids relax, then they're more apt to talk to you, because their brain, when they're not stressed out, they go back online to the higher brain. When all of us get emotionally flooded, we go offline. So you want to have downtime is so crucial. And that, in terms of going back to the culture, downtime is like getting kind of left out.
Do you know, I wanted to share something with you and just kind of say it so they can get your feedback on it. I've often thought that in today's world, where everything can be easy if you allow it to be, we might be doing a disservice to our relationships with our children. And so let me give you an example so that what I just said makes more sense. If I take my money and I pay somebody else to, let's say, tear down the garage so we can rebuild a new one, or cut down the bushes in the back so we can plant some new ones, or that kind of thing, then we don't do anything. But if I say to my son, look, I need your help this Saturday. We're going to tear down the garage. We need somebody with a sledgehammer. And we need, and now we've got some real sweaty, dirty work that we're really working together on. Mm-hmm. There's something about that. I don't know if it's what it is, but it bonds you. And I think it probably is true for daughters and parents, as well as sons and parents. So what is your thought on that? If we actually do physical manual labor together, is that a good therapy?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I know what you mean. It's like a lot of times
Because that's when you can talk. That's that. Like you're sitting on the curb, you're getting a glass of iced tea, taking a break, and you're sweating and you're exhausted, and you say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that tree limb almost hit you in the head," or whatever happens. There's this experience that's happening together.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's absolutely great. That's a great idea. Yeah.
What do you think about the role that church plays in the lives of children and their parents? Because we have young families in our church, and then they get confirmed when they're the age of 13. All of a sudden, they kind of don't go to church for a while, but then they might come back when they're adults and they're married. Does religion play an important role between the relationships of a parent and a child?
Oh, absolutely. I think that ideally you want to find a church that has a really good youth group, because they may not be that interested in maybe sitting in a church service, but if you can at least get them connected to positive youth leaders and with peers, and they're in kind of more of their adolescent culture, but they're still getting, good positive lessons and principles, then, that would be great. A lot of times a teenager, there has to be a little bit, a little bit of rebellion, which means they may not want to sit with the mom and dad in church, but if they could get involved in something.
Yeah. Let's take a little break. I have a commercial break, and we'll be right back. Colleen O'Grady is our guest, and she's talking to us about the one thing we probably all have in common is the challenge of being a parent, especially to a teenager. Yeah. She's got a couple of books. One is called Dial Down the Drama. I want to kind of focus on the whole drama thing when we come back. And then the other book is 7 Ways to Help Your Teenage Daughter and Yourself. So we'll touch on that one as well. We'll take a little break and be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. On this Monday, intervals of clouds and sun, breezy in the afternoon with a shower and thunderstorm around, high 87 to 91. There'll be a shower or thunderstorm around Monday evening, and partly cloudy later Monday night, low 73 to 77. Tuesday, more clouds and sun with a shower and heavy thunderstorm or two, especially during the afternoon hours. Watch for flooding downpours, a high 86 to 90. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Your super minty toothpaste could be keeping you awake. Mint stimulates our alertness and energy, so consider brushing with something like baking soda. If your new date goes out of their way to show respect to you, yet argues with every receptionist and valet and restaurant server, that's a red flag for what's going to happen later with you. If you want to improve your cognitive function, take a walk in nature.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
My name is David Moore, and I'm running for County Commission District 1 here in Marion County, Florida. The reason I'm running is I believe that government is of the people, by the people, and for the people, not of the special interests, by the special interests, and for their own self-serving interest. My faith lays the foundational principles for my decision-making process. I believe that public safety matters. The reason we have government is to protect the public, and we need to take care of those who take care of us. This is David Moore. I would appreciate your vote on August 30th. Paid political advertisement paid for and approved by David Moore, Republican for County Commission District 1.
Hey Ocala, this is Kelly Hart, Executive Editor of Ocala Magazine. Did you know last year Ocala Magazine won more awards in excellence than any other publication in Florida? And this year, Ocala Magazine was named Best Consumer Magazine in the state. Now you can join me every Friday at 10 a.m. on Ocala Magazine Radio, where we bring the pages of Ocala Magazine to life, right here on The Source. Ocala Magazine thanks you for making us number one. And remember, there is only one Ocala Magazine.
Hey, I'm Gary.
And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
All right, 24 minutes after after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Our guest is Colleen O'Grady, and she is talking about raising children, especially raising teenage children. She herself raised 2 children who went through their teenage years, and I presume they are doing happily right now. Colleen, am I right?
That's right. That's right.
Do you think affluence has an effect? Do you think if money is plentiful in a family, that a child is more likely to be pulling on the drama strings, or whatever you want to say?
No, it's not actually money. It's how parents handle the money. Like you were saying with the tearing down the fence together. It's entitlement that's the problem. And especially entitlement without responsibility. That's a recipe for disaster.
So what is being dramatic? That's what I guess what I want to say here. Is being dramatic actually sending a message to the parent? Is there something that we can kind of take away from that? If a child is being dramatic, are they asking for attention? What's going on?
Okay. A teenager is hardwired for drama, which means with a lot of the new research, what they have found with a lot of the brain mapping is that the teenage brain literally is not going to be fully developed until age 25. The lower brain, the reactive part of the brain, is fully developed. And that's the part that goes into more of a reactive fight, flight, freeze response. So what's going on with the teenager, a lot of it is not, it's not great behavior, but it's predictable because of where the brain is developmentally. So, a lot of people have heard that the prefrontal cortex is undeveloped. What that means is the part of the brain that looks at cause and effect or sees long-term consequences is not developed. So things...
okay.
Yeah. So, and there are a lot of factors I can't get into, but one I heard a psychologist say once, and I totally agree, is that's why parents have to be their teens' prefrontal cortex, because they don't think things through.
And you have some really wonderful things to share with people. You even have offering a free download.
Yes. So if parents wanted to go to howyourparenting.com, you can get my ebook for free, which is 7 ways to help your daughter and yourself, which could be a teenage boy and yourself also.
Okay.
And then my book that was published by Amicom last November, Dial Down the Drama, Reducing Conflict, is you can go to ColleenO'Grady.com and you can get a free chapter from my book. And on ColleenO'Grady.com, I have podcasts, I have blogs, I have lots of information that can help you as parents.
All right, so the website was going to be my next question. So ColleenO'Grady.com, right?
Yes,
And then the other one would be PowerYourParenting.com.
Yes.
And that's where you can get the free ebook. Oh, there you are. Oh, look at you. You're a pretty lady. Is that your husband?
What's that?
Is that your husband?
No, that's Jack Canfield. Jack Canfield is the author of...
Oh, yes. Okay, I didn't realize that's who that was.
Book. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. We've actually had him on the show, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
By phone, it's the same as you.
What is interesting about you is that you have been a family therapist for a lot of years, but you had your own and having to be objective to help them, but then you get your own daughters, and then by the time they reach 12, it's a whole different ballgame. So you have to really wear different hats in your life.
Yeah, and I think that's the book Dial Down the Drama. I started that when my daughter was 15 and finished when she was 19. So I lived the book. I wrote the book. I had to live every single aspect of the book. So it's not just a therapy book. It's like a book that I am totally in the trenches with all the other moms of the world.
Colleen, thank you so much for being on the air with us. The time just went too quickly, and definitely come back in the future. We love this interview. Thank you for being on with us today. We'll take a little break, and we'll be right back.
Election Day is Tuesday, August 30th. I need your vote. I'm Bridget Smith, registered nurse, veteran, and farmer of Marion County. I am running for Marion County Commissioner for you. I am disgusted with how our tax dollars are being spent. I will be a steward of your tax dollars and truly be the commissioner, representative of you, the people. I am Bridget Smith. I will dismember the status quo. Political advertisement paid for and approved by Bridget Smith. I am Bridget Smith, and I approve this message.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. Florida and other southeast residents stocking up on supplies as a tropical storm moves into the